Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Ask Jimmy Smith. Today, I am really excited to be coming to you with some preparedness that you should be having for your Amazon FBA business. Now, if you see this 6 months from whenever I post it, it might be a little bit behind of what we're going to be discussing today, because what I'm going to talk about is the Amazon FBA Meltable Products Analysis, and also how to be prepared. Right now, as of the recording of this, and whenever this comes out live, we are not in the multiple season for Amazon products where you can send in, chocolates and candies and things that melt. You can't send those into FBA right now as of the time of this recording. However, I wanted to make this a few weeks before so that you can get a head start. You can be much more prepared for whenever that multiple season opens up and you are able to send those products into Amazon FBA. Now, fair warning, you can sell multiple products year round. The only issue is outside of a certain time frame, you have to sell them merchant fulfilled or FBM. And so that requires some extra steps and some intricacies. And so I'm not going to cover that on this specific video. I may do that in the future, although since we're getting into multiple seasons for FBA, I'll probably do that next season. But ultimately, this video, I wanted to get to you to show you the best ways to be prepared for multiple season when it does open up, or at least when it's supposed to, as of right now that we would know, as well as reviewing some Keepa charts of what you need to be looking out for specific issues with those meltable products, and why I personally believe the best time to get into meltable stuff is right now before the season opens up. And so I just wanted to give this suggestion for all of you that don't want to touch meltable products. You don't want to deal with groceries, or maybe you live in a really hot climate, Texas or Florida or any of the southern United States, and you don't want to deal with potentially having multiple product issues right now when it's still hot in your location. You can ignore this video, or you can just watch it for something that will be applicable for you in a couple months as it cools off for you. But for the rest of you that are interested in selling those candy products, especially as we're getting into the Q4 season, holidays that have different candied products that are very popular on Amazon, for the rest of you that want to do that, this video will be a huge help in making sure that you can be as prepared as possible. So let's go ahead and get into a few different pieces of information. The first one is I wanted to discuss the FBA inventory policy, I guess, so to speak, and show you that here it says FBA accepts meltable products from October 16th to April 14th only. Meltable inventory stored or arriving in our fulfillment centers from April 15th to October 15th is marked unfulfillable and disposed of for a fee. So the date as of right now, and it could change, but I doubt it, the date is October 16th when they can be arriving. So I usually like to wait to send them in until after October 16th. I know there are people, and I believe there's been time before, in years past, where Amazon said, hey, you can start sending them in now. Maybe it's like October 10th or something. I can't remember the date, but you can start sending them in now, and we won't, we'll accept them and make them live after the 16th. But for me, I just like to wait just in case there's any issues. And I would do the shipment on October 16th personally, but that's up to you. Maybe I'll do another video and say, hey, this is the date when Amazon says that you can start sending them in, because they shouldn't be received at the warehouse until after the 16th. Ultimately, we just want to make sure your stuff doesn't get marked as unfulfillable and disposed of for a fee. So I'm more cautious and like to wait until the actual date to send it in. Now, I also want to point out here that it says meltable refers to all heat-sensitive products, including but not limited to chocolate, gummies, and select jelly and wax-based products. So for those of you that may or may not know, meltable products can be chocolates. It can be any types of candies, right? It can also be probiotics. So like probiotic vitamins, can be gummies for different vitamins, tons of different things. It could also be, anything that melts, essentially. You can put it in the back of your vehicle in a hot summer day and it melts, then that is a pretty good indicator that it is a meltable product according to Amazon. Now, Amazon is, as we all know, not perfect. And so they make mistakes in marking things that are meltable. So sometimes you actually need to know these rules so you don't send in some chocolate that maybe Amazon missed as being a meltable product. You send it in and then it melts everywhere and you get a bad customer review. That is a problem. So you do kind of have to know these policies. I will link in the description below this policy exactly, so that you know you can go review it if you have any questions on how this all works. And so it's a pretty short sheet. You can also download a list of meltable ASINs. However, I want to show you this because a lot of people have issues with meltable products. And as you may or may not know, I also have a software company called Replen Dashboard. Now, Replen Dashboard, I do live demos. There's a whole playlist on my channel. I don't talk about it as much as I probably should, but I wanted to point it out on this video because if you're using Replen Dashboard and you have this, you can see that there's a column here marked for meltable. Now, that means that you've got the ability to see the products that Amazon deems meltable in your inventory. And so we pull all this information from Amazon. We then upload it into Replen Dashboard, and we've got those ASINs in your specific inventory that are meltable products. So you don't have to worry about running those reports every year or finding out too late that something needed to get disposed of that wasn't. You can actually do it within Replen Dashboard using this meltable section. Now, as I said, because Amazon does make mistakes in marking things as meltable, you also have the ability to add things to the list as being meltable. And so if you do have a chocolate product that maybe Amazon didn't put on there as being meltable, or a probiotic, well, I highly recommend, if you know that it goes against Amazon's terms of service, that you come in here and you mark these things as meltable so that you don't accidentally continue to replenish them during the out of meltable season. But I digress. I wanted to show you, though, how you can use Replen Dashboard to get more prepared for the meltable selling season. So if you were to come into Replen Dashboard here and you were to go to your meltable column and you click on yes, then it's going to pull up all the items that are currently meltable in your inventory. So these are items that maybe you sold from last year. And if you connect your Replen Dashboard account to your Amazon seller account as you're supposed to, we pull in all your products and we would get this list put together for you. But you could then look at the products that you're selling from last year and go ahead and start to make a buy list for the things that you want to send in on October 16th, as we just saw from their policy. And I'm going to get into some Keepa charts in a little bit to show you some things to look for from a meltable product standpoint. Also, if you're interested in my Keepa training guide, I do have a free Keepa training guide at AskJimmySmith.com/Keepa guide. And so I talk about some different nuances and intricacies. I don't go into everything, but you can get the free Keepa guide at AskJimmySmith.com/Keepa guide. But anyway, before we get into the Keepa charts there, I wanted to show you if I had Replen Dashboard connected as I'm showing here, and this is a demo account just so that I can show you some products that aren't actually people's products. We have fake things in here, but I would run a list that shows all my meltable inventory marked as yes. So that way I know that it's currently meltable. And then I would come over here. Naturally, if it is meltable, you more than likely will not be selling it unless you're doing them fulfilled by merchant. And if you do fulfilled by merchant for meltable products, that's totally fine. But you might have some different numbers. Luckily, if you want to fulfill those by merchant, you can also filter out marketplaces if you just want to look at your FBA listings as well. But anyway, looking at this, you can also see, because Replen Dashboard is tracking based on either the buy box, maybe there is a merchant fulfilled seller in the buy box, or if there is no merchant fulfilled seller and nobody's currently selling it, then it will default to what your price is or was whenever you were listing it. So you can look at products that are currently meltable and currently profitable, hitting certain ROI metrics or profit metrics. You can utilize that information to build out a buy list for your shoppers or for online arbitrage so that you can be ready to send them in immediately. And the reason this is important is what I will show you in a minute with those Keepa charts as to why you want to send them in quickly. But what I would do personally, I would come in, I would run a list of all of my meltable products marked yes. I would then come over here and I would say, you know what, I only want to see things that have an ROI currently of 40%. Okay, so if I put that in there, I don't know if you noticed, it was at 10 rows before, so there were 10 items, and now there's 8 items. So it got rid of those low ROI or negative ROI products based off the current information. And then I would run this list and I would check into Keepa for each and every one of those. And I would see how did it perform last year based off of the meltable season that was happening. And what we'll see soon is that a lot of them start out at a high price and then they tank in price throughout the winter season. And then they come back towards the end of the season as people stop sending them in. So the importance here is being first and or be willing to wait it out, or be willing to sell it at that really low price if you wait too long. So there's a few different things that I wanted to make sure to point out there. Again, I'll run through those steps really quick. You would run a list in Replen Dashboard showing all of your meltable products, which pulls in from Amazon directly. You would then come over here and you could filter out profit and ROI based off whatever settings. Maybe you only want to see items that are $5 of profit, and you do that, and it's a much smaller list. Maybe you want to see items that are only a 40% ROI. Whatever it is, you can filter it however you want. And this data is, again, based off of the buy box price, which is over here. Or if there is no buy box price, which in the case of these top two, then it's based off the price that you had last listed it at. Now, after you do this, you've got your list. I would come over here and I would click through this little Keepa chart. Keepa button will allow you to pull up the Keepa chart for that product. Since these products are not meltable, these are all fake products, I pulled up a few examples. So this is a very typical chart for evaluating meltable products. You will look at something that Amazon deems as meltable. You'll see that during the winter months here, it was selling. It had FBA sellers on it. And then after the meltable season ended, there was no seller. And then now we've got a merchant fulfilled seller trying to sell this product. And so this is something that's very typical. What I want to point out, first off, there was really nobody in it over at this point last year. This was around November. I'm kind of surprised at it for this particular product. But you can see when the first FBA seller came in, they were around $9 up at that point, between 8 and 10. And then it started to drop as the sellers came onto the listing. So you can see the sellers came onto the listing at a decently quick pace. And so the pricing dropped. However, the sales rank was pretty good here. Now, this was a part of a variation. So, who knows if it was actually tremendously selling or not. What I would like to point out too in this seller count down here is it went up to about 3 or 4, and then it dropped 2. So because of that, I would guess that those 2 sellers sold out at this higher price point, which is directly above this spot. So they sold out at around a $7 price point, and other people came in at $3, okay, which is ridiculous that people would even sell it at $3, but that's a topic for a different day. So the point that I'm trying to make is if you are one of those first people, because you're prepared, you run a list using Replen Dashboard or some other way that you are tracking your meltable products, you run a list for those items, you send them in immediately, you can make those sales much quicker up at the top of this price point. Now I'll look at another example. Right here. So you can see that back in, this was a year ago. So between October and about April, you can see that there are FBA sellers on it. Now, after this point, this product gets marked as meltable. You can tell that because Amazon's off of it, and there are no more FBA triangles there. And then during this period of time, over the last 6-7 months, there's been no FBA sellers on it. However, there have been merchant fulfilled sellers on this listing. But you can tell that the product isn't selling as fast right now. My guess is that as soon as October 16th hits, this product will return more than likely at a higher price point up here, and then it will drop down again. Now, the risk you run, and I'll give you as a caveat for this, is that Amazon comes back in on it October 16th, and they're at a ridiculously low price. So whenever you're looking at these meltable products, you can either be extra risky and you can say, hey, I want to sell it at this price, and I'll just flip a coin and hope that I sell it at that price. Or I'm okay selling it here. Maybe this is break even, this price where FBA sellers were. Maybe that's break even. And if that's the case, then, it's worth trying to send it in. Now, if this price point, though, where Amazon has been, is losing a few dollars, then that's a much bigger risk to take if you're trying to do it quicker. I like to see these types of charts and double check. Okay, cool. I can make a lot more money at this top point, but here I'm going to break even or make just a little bit of money. Then it's worth that risk, in my opinion, because there's really no risk if I know that I can break even at that typical price range during the season. So let's go on to the third example. You can see here, this product was not marked as meltable because there's a bunch of FBA sellers on it in July and August. However, it is a chocolate product. So those are one of those cases where Amazon isn't marking it as meltable for whatever reason. I believe it was like M&Ms or something. However, they can still melt. And so that would be something that there's a reason that there's a bunch less FBA sellers on it after April. And there's a reason the price goes up, because good sellers know not to send in chocolate products during meltable season because you'll get bad reviews. Amazon doesn't like it, etc. However, what you can tell is that during last year in October, it was selling about $30, maybe a little bit less than $30. There was a decent amount of sellers. And then as meltable season kept going, the sellers were going up, the price was going down. And then once we get towards the end of that, sellers started to either sell out or drop off because they were recalling their products or getting them disposed of. What I want to point out, though, is that we are at a high price right now. As soon as October rolls around, October 16th, more than likely you'll have a good window of opportunity to sell these products at a higher price point for a few weeks to a month before everybody else jumps onto them. And so if you're prepared and you've got this as an old meltable product that you're selling on, you can go out, buy those products now or within the next couple of weeks, send them in on October 16th. And you should be good to go for a shorter period of time. Again, this is not a replenishable type situation that I normally talk about. It is much more of a, hey, let's make some quicker money and let's also look for meltable products because they're coming back around. Maybe you send this in and there's a bunch of people that got burned last year that don't ever come back on the listing and it stays at a high price point. Or maybe you send it in and there's a bunch of people that come on it right away. That's a little bit riskier, but I wanted to go through some of the analysis techniques for how to do this and how to be prepared for the season. And then the last one that I have here, you can kind of tell, I believe this one wasn't marked as meltable either, but people know it's meltable. You've got one rogue little FBA seller up there at a higher price point mid-May. And so I don't think that this one was marked as meltable, or if it is, it was marked later and it was just missed initially by Amazon. This one's actually been fairly steady. However, you can see that the sellers at the beginning of October or so started to go up. They trended upwards, and then they started to, surprisingly to me, started to sell out in January. I assume that's due to Q4 or their gift cards that people get, Amazon gift cards for Christmas or other holidays throughout the year. And then they started to stay off. Also, it could just be that the price dropped so much that sellers just sold out of the product and then never came back on towards the end of the season. But I wanted to show you that even here in November, the pricing was quite a bit higher for FBA sellers, and then it started to drop towards that buy box. So ultimately, this is just another example. Typically, though, if you're looking at meltable products, this is going to be much more likely, or even I believe the second one is going to be much more likely where you see it higher at first and then it drops off. So my personal preference is to make sure at these lower points in any of these graphs at these lower average midpoints, I would say, you want to make sure that you can break even at those prices or make a little bit of money. Or if you're okay with it, you can lose a little bit. You just don't want to be losing more than 50 cents or $1 on each unit, because that can really add up if you do it on a lot of them. But I wanted to shoot this video to encourage you that if you have Replen Dashboard or you're considering getting Replen Dashboard, now is the time to do it so that you can set up all of your products. It'll pull in all the information from Amazon. It'll create that list of all of the meltable products for you. You can run that list and then start going through your old products that you used to sell last year based off of its profitability metrics from the buy box or from your old sale price that you had it on last year. So that is the meltable preparation video that I wanted to shoot for you. The other thing that you can do, let's say that you're brand new and you don't have a list of things from last year, you can also come up here and click this little plus sign. So you could start sourcing for meltable products now that are new, that you know are meltable, chocolates, probiotics, gummies, etc. And you could come over here and say, hey, you know what? I want to track this product. Maybe it's a new bundle, or maybe it's something that you just never sourced and you don't want to forget about it when meltable season is here. You can add a product that won't add it to Amazon Seller Central. It will track it in Replen Dashboard, and then you can mark it as meltable in there so you know to run a list of meltable products later. I may do a bigger deep dive on this topic because this is so powerful. in Replen Dashboard that you can actually track products that aren't listed on Seller Central and keep track of profitability, if they're meltable, if they're replenishable products, where you can get them from, their cost, etc. So this is a very powerful feature of Replen Dashboard that I personally think is underutilized by a lot of people. And I highly recommend doing it if you're newer or looking for more meltable products now for that meltable season to come around, or even looking for Q4 products that maybe sold last year and you want to keep track on their profitability, right? So there's a ton of different things that you can use with that. That's a separate video that I'll probably make at a different time, but I wanted to give you that little tip here at the end. One last reminder before I close this off. If you want to check out the Keepa guide, the free Keepa training, you can go to AskJimmySmith.com/Keepa guide, and you will get an email. It's a 17-page document that we use to train the people that we train in our business. And so super excited to be able to provide that for you. But let me know your thoughts on this video. Did you think that this helped you? Is this going to help you be more prepared for meltable season? Have you even heard of Replen Dashboard? Is it something that you're interested in at all, or you want to hear more about it? Let me know. I'm happy to answer questions on Replen Dashboard. Also, if you would like this video, share the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me to know that I'm doing a good job, that you enjoy the content, keeps me motivated to make more for you. So hopefully this helped you and blessed you. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.